This video is made possible by Gerald Subaru. You know Subaru makes fantastic cars, and Gerald Subaru in Naperville matches those vehicles with fantastic service as well. Visit GeraldSubaruNaperville.com to start your new car search today. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2022 Subaru Crosstrek Limited. Up front is a 2.5 liter flat 4, down below is a CVT. Now I am super excited to be driving this here Crosstrek for a couple of reasons, but the main reason is that engine under the hood. And we'll talk about why in a second. But before we get on to anything else, if you'd like to help support the channel, I have a website, ZackPradel.com, where you can buy stickers. I have this retro sticker pack available, as well as you can submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me here on the channel through a quick and easy submission form, as well as you can check out my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. Every purchase of merchandise helps keep ad reads away from my videos, and it is greatly appreciated. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter flat 4 making 182 horsepower. Well, that's the big news. That's the big talk about this car right now, is the 2.5 liter, because up until the 2021 model year, you could only get it with the base 2.0 liter flat 4 that made about 150 horsepower. That 30 horsepower jump is awesome. I drove an older Crosstrek with that older engine, and it felt so underpowered that I was scared to pop the hood and only find a gerbil on a spinning wheel. However, we now have the 2.5 liter, a little bit more torque, 30 more horsepower, and so let's see how it does. All right, back straight away. Let's put it into SI mode. It doesn't sound pretty because of the CVT. We'll talk about that in a second. But this thing actually gets up out of its own way. It's awesome. It's way better. Is this car a speed demon? Not in the slightest. But it actually feels and drives like a car should, as opposed to the 2 liter. Really did not cut the mustard. Like I said, paired to it is a CVT, which stands for continuously variable transmission, meaning there are no set gears here in the Crosstrek. Subaru, pretty much all of their automatics, not pretty much, all of their automatics are CVTs. It's this setup, and you get that weird sort of rev hang when accelerating because the ratios are changing while driving. I'm not a big fan of the feeling of CVTs. However, in a vehicle like this, something that you would drive every day, something that you aren't really going to try to get the most performance out of, a CVT is fine. However, if you're okay with that 2 liter base engine, you can find basic Crosstreks in manual. However, they are extremely rare. Last but not least, of course, the Crosstrek is all-wheel drive. All Crosstreks are all-wheel drive. Pretty much all Subarus are all-wheel drive, except for, of course, the BRZ. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a couple physical gauges and a screen. On the left, I have my tachometer. On the right, I have my speedometer. And then in the center, I have a very colorful screen giving me a bunch of information. I'll cycle through here. I really like this little screen. I think it can be a little bit cluttered at times, but you can change what you're able to see, and I like that customization. And like I always say, the more colors the better, because it just makes it feel like a more premium screen, as opposed to like some other brands only use one color. It just seems like a cheap alternative to a screen. On the steering wheel on the left, I have some selectors and volume, as well as source, info, and phone options. To the bottom left, I have my controls for that center gauge screen for information and set. And on the right, I have cruise control, which is adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and things like that. This does come with Subaru's EyeSight system, which is really, really good. EyeSight is equivalent to Honda's Honda Sensing or any other brand like that. It's basically all of these sensors for safety wrapped up into one convenient name. So that includes cross traffic alert, blind spot monitoring, as well as the radar system and emergency braking. Then I do have S and I for SI drive, which basically changes the throttle response to either be sporty, S, or intelligent for I. And off to the left, I do have more safety features for traction control, automatic start stop on and off, blind spot monitoring off, gauge dimmer switch, and my SRH off. Moving on to the door, I have my power mirror adjusters, lock and unlock, and my power windows. Moving into the center, up at the very top, I actually have this nice little readout giving me tons of really, really cool information. I love this little screen. Subaru's been doing this for quite some time in other vehicles like the Ascent and the WRX. And I think it's fantastic. I like this little added screen. It makes this car feel a little bit more rugged, a little bit more purpose-built, which is fantastic. Then moving down to the center, we do have a touchscreen infotainment system. And I will say I like this look a lot better than in the Legacy. It just looks like a giant iPad. This still mimics an older style radio, and I like that a lot. Of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are available here in the Crosstrek. And we'll take a quick look at the backup camera. I do like the fact that you have the sort of spacing lines, and when you turn the steering wheel, they do adjust as well. You only get one camera angle, which is okay. And of course, parking sensors and RAB you can turn on and off. Down below that little screen, I do have some physical buttons for the radio, like home, radio, phone, media, and apps. And of course, volume and tune and scroll. And then we have the climate controls, very basic here. Surprisingly, I don't actually get dual zone, which is a little disheartening to see in a vehicle like this, you know. At this price point, around $30,000, my $25,000 Mazda has dual zone climate. So something I would have liked to have seen, but not the end of the world, and definitely not a deal breaker for me. Then I have this nice cubby and the shifter itself. The shifter is shared with pretty much all automatic Subarus, and I like the feeling of it. Not a huge fan of the piano black up at the top, just because I know it's going to get smudged up real easily. But overall, I like the feeling and functionality of it. Down below, I have my heated seat options for the driver and passenger, which is fantastic. And then I have my X mode button. So this is basically an off-road setting, telling the vehicle, hey, I'm gonna do some gnarly terrain here, and it'll adjust its sensors and things like that to make that drive even better. And I really like that customization that you get here in the Crosstrek. Then we do have cup holders, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and it so badly wants to fit. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't firmly grasp the big friggin' bottle. And unfortunately, it does break my heart, but I have to fail the Crosstrek in the big friggin' bottle test. Then I do get a center console, 2 USB inputs for charging in there, as well as a 12-volt outlet. And then we gotta talk about the seats. The seats are perforated leather. They have this nice orange stitching on them as well. Definitely adds to that sporty feel. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2022 Subaru Crosstrek Limited. And a couple of things to note back here. First of all, headroom great, I'm 5'11". Knee room great, this is my driving position as well. And my knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. Fantastic. I think honestly, this is the perfect size for a small family or couple situation. If you have one kid, sure, maybe 2 kids, yeah, you could definitely fit them back here very comfortably. Obviously, 3 kids, you'd start to have an issue because there's no third row. But with all that being said, I think that this is really, really adequate space, which is fantastic and hard to find at a price point like this. So I really, really like it back here. I don't really get any features. I do have a center console with 2 cup holders. The orange stitching carries on back here. Not a lot of manufacturers carry on the nice stitching from the front to the rear, but Subaru has seemed to do that. But nothing really to write home about besides that. Let's go take a quick look at the cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Subaru Crosstrek. And of course, we do have some Gerald goodies that you would get upon purchase, as well as the roadside emergency kit. This is an add-on you can get for your Subarus. But honestly, the back seat space here, or the back cargo area, is plentiful. And you do get a spare tire, which is fantastic, especially if you're out and about on a road trip, traveling the country, you want a full-size spare. Tons of great space back here. I would have liked to have seen a 12-volt outlet. I don't seem to see one, however, not the end of the world. And you do have this nice privacy cover to lock in there. But other than that, fantastic backspace, especially for a vehicle in this segment and for its size. Now we got to talk about the looks. And since the last time I drove a Crosstrek, it has gotten facelifted a little bit. The Limited does come with nicer headlights, which is a nice feature, other than like the Sport, let's say. But overall, I really do like the look of the Crosstrek. However, if you can, try to find one in the cool khaki blue. One of my favorite colors on new cars. I love cool khaki blue. Once Gerald Subaru of Naperville gets a cool khaki, blue car. I will film it just because I love that color so much. I think it adds so much. And if I ever bought a Crosstrek, which honestly, in my final thoughts we'll talk about, I will get it in a cool khaki blue. So, with all that being said, let's get to my final thoughts. What do I think about this Crosstrek? Well, I love it. I think that added 2.5 liter as opposed to the 2 liter is fantastic. I would not purchase a Crosstrek with the 2 liter. I just think it feels so sluggish. And yeah, this one isn't fast. It's not like a race car now, but it gives me at least a little bit more confidence that highway on-ramps aren't going to be the scariest place in the world. And since they fixed that with the 2.5 liter, I think this is one of the best cars. And honestly, like I just teased, I could see myself probably purchasing one of these. My girlfriend is going to be in need of a car soon, and the Crosstrek, I think, is at the top of our lists. We recently took a trip out to Colorado, and you see these all over the place. And for those of you who like to get adventurous, I have seen Subaru Crosstreks do things that Jeep Wranglers would shake in their boots witnessing. These little things are tough. They are rugged. The all-wheel drive systems are fantastic. You throw some knobby tires on them, and you have a nearly unstoppable off-road vehicle. You might not be able to climb El Capitan in one of these, but I think 90% of Jeeps and Broncos wouldn't be able to either. It's rugged, and yet also it's a daily driver. Driving it around here on the test track, normal road conditions. It's 20 degrees outside today, Fahrenheit. It's nice and quiet, it's smooth. The CVT doesn't bother me at slow speeds. When you try to accelerate it, it does throw a little bit of a hissy fit, but if you want a car to floor all the time, I don't think the Crosstrek is it. Plus, there's a sweet song on Spotify about Subaru Crosstreks. That's kind of cool too. So honestly, I see one of these probably in my future at some point. I don't know when, but I think for someone that isn't crazy about cars but wants something that can keep up with their active lifestyle, I say go for it. I think this thing is great. I just can't get over how much better that 2.5 liter is as opposed to the 2 liter on the base models. Please do not buy a base model. I beg you. You will be so much happier in the 2.5 liter. I promise. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Gerald Subaru in Naperville. Their information is up on the screen as well as found in the description below. They are absolutely awesome. We've been working together for quite some time, and the staff there is fantastic. They will greet you and meet you and figure out whatever car situation works best for you and find you a vehicle quickly. They also offer the Gerald lifetime warranty on some of their vehicles, which is the entire life of the vehicle, which is just fantastic. I cannot recommend it, Gerald Subaru in Naperville, enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.